Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Colleen at MikeColleen.com. Alright, so this video is hopefully going to be a short video, and it's going to be about understanding something that you don't understand about narcissist abuse and just abuse of people in general, okay? So we've all heard the crabs in the bucket story. Hopefully you have. I'll give you a very, very brief description of it. The gist of it, cliff notes I guess, is so basically what happened is there's a bucket and there's a bunch of crabs in there. And for the most part everyone in there fights each other and stuff, and then when, you know, the crabs are trying to get out, right? So when one of them finally gets their claw over the rim of the bucket, the next one behind him grabs him, you know, his back leg, and he pulls him back down. So that's essentially what we're dealing with. So it's just like this image here where it says, oh no, you don't, no, oh no you don't, where do you think you're going? Come back down here where the rest of us belong. So that's a bucket right there full of water, and one of them's finally trying to get out. Well, that would be you. So another analogy I learned in Hawaii during one of the NLP trainings was this. It's like crabs in general will cling to the rocks underneath the water, right? And every now and then one of the crabs will let go and they start to float away. So, and they go up into the water and go higher and higher and higher. Whereas all the other crabs are at the very bottom clinging to the rocks and won't let go of the rocks. And all of a sudden all the other crabs look and go, oh my God, look, he's flying. Well, so he's in the water. So essentially, that's what you were like to all these narcissistic people. It's like you were different, okay? And I mean, I remember my brother Joey said it to me when I was about 18 or 19. We're in my mom's kitchen, and he just, out of the blue, I was making a sandwich, and he just sort of looks at me and he goes, "You're different." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "You're different." I'm like, "What's that supposed to mean?" He goes, I don't know how to explain it, but you're just different. And that's what I'm going to explain now in this video, okay? It'll help you to understand why they can't understand. So what happens is you let go a long time ago. In fact, when you were a kid, you were just one of those people that just dove into stuff. Whether you're learning how to fix, you know, the bearings on a bicycle or the gears, or you know, you're in a science project, you just dove in without even thinking about it. Whereas the other people were just hesitant and, I don't know if I can do this, I don't know what I'm doing, and just thinking. Whereas you were just like, hey teacher, well now what do I do? You were this innocent, pure little person just floating through life from one thing to another, from art class to music to, you know, racing BMX bikes to soccer to football to music to choir to piano to whatever. You just bounced around, you just dove in, listened, paid attention, learned, and did. Whereas the narcissist, basically, they didn't do that. They just questioned everything, and they would think and think and think, and they couldn't stop doing it. So your entire life, you were that crab that let go of the rocks at the bottom a long time ago. In fact, it was almost as if you never clung to them. And if you did, you just did it temporarily to hang out with some people, and you went back up, okay? So here's what I'm trying to say. You have a perspective that they don't have. You see things in a way that they can't. So back to the crabs in the bucket, it's like all they know is this metal rim that goes around, a metal bottom, there's water in there, and there's a bunch of crabs, and everyone's pulling everyone down and stabbing each other in the back and pulling each other down. That's all they know. And here's the thing, they don't think there's anything else. They literally go, well, this is just the way life is. In fact, I bet you've had friends or family members, etc., tell you that. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that from everyone, from brothers, sisters, you know, narcissistic friends, narcissistic relationships, where they're like, well, or they'll tell you, well, that's not real. And the reason why they'll tell you things like, oh, well, let's say you want, like, okay, when I was a kid, I first started boxing. All I ever heard from my mom, my brothers and sisters, like, well, dude, you can't do that. I'm like, why not? Like, well, you've never done it before. And I just remember as a kid looking at them like, well, yeah, I know, I'm a kid. Of course I haven't done it before. Like, that was like the dumbest answer I've ever heard in my life. And I was a little kid looking at them like, what? Of course I haven't done it before. I'm freaking, I think I was like 7 years old at the time. So I remember I was in therapy. It's actually an energy healer when I was, I don't know, 31 or something like that. And I remember, okay, so I was a state champion in boxing, was captain of the section championship football team. I won nationals in BMX, and I won doubles and triples in BMX, and in wrestling, I was two-time Northern California wrestling champion, meaning I was ranked #1 in NorCal, and I went to the state championships. I won league subsection 2 years in a row, placed third in sections. I did a lot of things in my life, and then when I got, here's the thing. When I got into kickboxing when I was, I don't know, 20 some years old, 21, 22, something like that. Once again, my brothers and sisters and my mom were like, well, you can't do that. You've never done that before. And I just was like, what the fuck? It was like, no matter what I freaking did, I always succeeded. Now here I was saying this to my therapist. And I go, I don't get it. When are they going to fucking get, that when I put my mind and heart to something that I can do it? And she goes, it's not you. I'm like, well, what are you talking about? She goes, Michael, you got to understand. You're their brother and sister. You're their child. I'm like, okay. She goes, in their mind, since they can't do it, you can't do it. I'm like, why? She goes, because you're supposedly just like them. So if they can't do it, I mean, we grew up in the same house. If I can't do it, then you can't do it. She goes, that's the way they view the world. I was like, what? Even after all? She goes, yeah. Because in their mind, you're starting a new thing which you've never done. They can't do it, so you can't do it. So I started looking at everyone differently from that point forward. I thought, man, that is so true. Like, these are people that never even tried to do anything with their life. So here's my point. All they know is what's inside that bucket of limitation. And that bucket is, the name of the crab bucket is the bucket of limitation. Okay? So you just jumped out one day and you flew around, and then you found the crabs on the rocks, and you went down and said, hey, what's up, guys? You want to fly? They're like, no, that's okay. You can't, you can't do that. And you're like, no, sure you can. Here, let me show you. And you let go of the rocks and you fly around in the water. And here's the thing, they resent you for it because they have this belief system that, like, that's not possible. And here's the thing, they really believe that. Now, there's a way that they get around that, is they will then say, well, you must be blessed by God. You must be special. You must be born with something special. My mom literally used to say that all the time. Whenever we were kids watching Donnie and Marie, they were this, two brother and sister duo that would sing like these country, not always country, but pop, actually it was pop music, Christmas songs for Christmas. It was a big deal back in the 70s. And then we'd watch the Country Music Awards, and my mom would, no matter what we were watching, whether it was the Olympics or anything, she would say, well, they were just born that way. They were born special. They were born professional athletes. And I remember one day I looked at my mom. I just won the state championship boxing. I said, Mom, they weren't, I didn't say the F word, I was a little kid. I go, they weren't born that way. They worked their ass off. They worked hard every day for freaking years and years and years to develop their skills. And my mom just rolled her eyes and gave me the big, But here's the deal. It's like, it shatters their whole world when you come along and you fly. Now here's the thing that I'm trying to get you to understand. You have flown at the top of the water. You've walked out of the water. You've flown in the air. You've been in an airplane. You know what it's like up there. They don't. In fact, not only do they not know what it's like up there, they don't know that there is anything up there. They don't know there is an up. All they know is this is the bucket and this is life. They don't know anything even 1 inch outside of the bucket. They don't know there is an outside of the bucket. And you come along talking about these fantasies and fairy tales, right? And they're looking at you like, dude, you're weird. There's something, dude, you're just different. So all these TV shows about the Olympics, the Super Bowl, professional world championship boxers, you know, the Donnie Marie show, the country music awards, the Olympics, etc. It's a television, so they think it's fucking fantasy. They don't, it's like they can't conceive that it's real. It's like in their world, everything is fake. And that's what a narcissist is. They're fake. And that's why, okay, it's like narcissists think, well, this is the way everyone is. Everyone walks around being fake, so they just make shit up and they do fake shit and they lie about people and on, thinking, well, this is the way everyone is, when no, not everyone's like that. Not everyone wants to talk behind someone's back. Not everyone wants to pull someone down who just got out of the freaking rat race. Now, here's the kicker. You came along and you reached down into that bucket because this crab was standing there looking at you like, what are you? And you wanted to help them out. And here's the weird thing. They're looking at you like, well, you need to get back down in here. Do you see the dilemma? The overall lesson of this video is really, they've never been out of the bucket, so everything you say, they think is fantasy fucking island. They're looking at you like, man. Now, here's the worst part about it, though. They see you do these things that you say you can do, and it confuses the hell out of their brain. They're like, what? Like, they can't comprehend. So here's the thing. Since it goes against everything they've ever known, everything they've ever believed, against their core beliefs about how life is and the possibilities. In fact, they don't believe in possibilities because there is no possibilities. And here you come along, the possibility maker, and they're like, what's wrong with you? You're weird. You're different. So they stay down in the bucket. They stay down on the rocks and they never let go. And in the meantime, they do everything they can in their power to prove to you that you're wrong while they're watching you do it. So on the one hand, in their eyes, they're looking at you flying around going, well, I can't do that. And they don't like it. It's like they're looking at you like, what do you think, you're better than me? So their ego gets involved. And you're like, what are you talking about? I don't think I'm better than you. Here, let me show you. You can do it too. And so they're trying to sucker you in to hurt you, to bring you down, to prove to you that you're not better than them. Now here's the weirdest revelation that I had. I made a video about this about 6 months ago or longer. It's been a while ago. It was the realization that they think that I'm better than them. I never in a million years thought that. But when I realized that, I was like everything made sense all the way back to when I was a little kid, middle school, high school, dealing with my younger cousin Jamie. You know, my uncle always cut me down and all these other people. And I was like, oh, I get it. So in their eyes, I was above them. But I never thought that way. So here you are flying around. And the illusion that they have to have is that they're just as good as you or they're better than you. But the reality is they're going, shit, I'm not. You're better than me. And their brain has a complete meltdown. Now, so in this image it says this. So cognitive dissonance. This is why people get upset when their beliefs are challenged. So it says a mental conflict occurs when beliefs are contradicted by new information. This conflict activates areas of the brain involved in personal identity and emotional response to threats. The brain's alarms go off when a person feels threatened on a deeply personal and emotional level, causing them to shut down and disregard any rational evidence that contradicts what they previously regarded as truth. So essentially what happens is you come along and you shatter their beliefs. Not just one, but all of them. So here's what I mean. They think the world is horrible. They think everyone's backstabbing everyone. They think it's a kill or be killed world, and that's the way it must be, and that's the way it is. And you come along, this kind, loving person. Well, let me tell you something. They don't believe it. They think you're setting them up. They think that it's all an act. They think you're going to hurt them or fuck them over down the road. They think you're just suckering them in because that's what they do to people when they love bomb you. The whole goal of love bombing is to manipulate you and to trick you and to pull the wool over your eyes to convince you to lower your guard. And once you do, wham, they hit you. So all along you've been kind to them, supportive of them, and in their eyes, what they're doing is they're projecting the way they are. So they're thinking, well, when I do this to people, it means I'm setting them up. I'm about to fuck them over really bad. So now they're fucking thinking, oh, okay, well then the war is on, but you don't know there's a war going on because you didn't do nothing. But now they're talking behind your back. They're setting you up. They're stabbing you in the back. They're gaslighting. They're playing mind games, and they're doing all this bullshit. And they're waiting, and they're waiting, and they're waiting. They're waiting for the shoe to drop, for the bomb to go off. They're waiting for you to retaliate. They're waiting for you to finally pull the rug out from underneath them. They're waiting for you to do something mean, but you don't. Instead, you say, hey, do you want to go to lunch? And they're like, yeah, sure. Like, wait, what? Okay, well, maybe they'll do it tomorrow. Then tomorrow you're like, hey man, what's going on? You seem pretty pissed off at me. Like what's going on? And they're like, oh yeah, they're trying to trick me up. They know what's going on. They know what's going on. But you don't, because you're not doing nothing. And so then they make it more blatant, and they really attack you, and they push the limits because they're trying to get you to fight back. They're trying to get you to do what you came here to do, but you don't do it. And they're just going, what the fuck's going on here? They get confused, right? So then you come back and you might even hug them and say, hey, let's sit down and talk. You know, what's going on, man? And they're looking at you like, wait, why are they being so nice? And they will literally say that to themselves, or maybe their friends say, I don't understand why they're being so nice to me. Like, what are they waiting for? And then what happens is they start to realize, holy shit, this person's been nice to me the whole goddamn time. They never had any intentions of setting me up. But again, it's kind of like that crab in the bucket thing. They've never had this experience. They don't understand. Usually people will eventually fight back, and thus see, let's say they fuck with someone who's actually just a really good person. But that person has this thing called self-respect and self-esteem, and they know how to stand up for themselves. Where an empath will just continually to love and love and love. So when that other person stands up for themselves, they go, see, everyone's like that. It justifies their bullshit. In their mind, like, well, they fought back, so therefore they're a bad person too, just like me, and thus everyone is like this. See, what ends up happening is the narcissist's #1 goal becomes, because they start to really dig their heels in, their whole goal is like, I've got to get this person to do something mean to me. I have to justify every fucking thing that I've done to them for all these fucking months, weeks, months, and even years. Like, they haven't done nothing back. Well, no one's this nice. And here's what happens. Their brain is having an absolute realization of what they believe is not fucking true at all. That there's actually people out there that are actually good people, and then they have this cognitive dissonance, and they have an absolute complete meltdown. So as it says in this cognitive dissonance thing, they will literally fight to defend themselves. It's like they feel threatened on a deeply personal level, like they're being attacked. And that's what okay, this is where you get confused, like, well, what's going on? They acted like I attacked them. I didn't do nothing. And here's the thing, you didn't. And that's what triggered all their alarms. You triggered them by just being a nice person. You actually didn't do anything. If you study hypnosis and psychology long enough, you'll realize that people will defend, if they have a real solid belief that they've had for a long time, they will defend the fuck out of it. To the extent like they literally feel like they have to physically fight for their life. Like, they will have an adrenaline dump that dumps into their system. They'll go into full-on panic mode, like they're literally like they're getting attacked by a lion or something, and they're literally at the grips of death. They are freaking out that bad. Now here is the absolute, total, complete kicker of all kickers. Watch this. So after months and months and months of absolute, total attacks and abuse upon you, you just say, I can't take this anymore, I'm done, I'm gone, and you leave. And their whole system flips the fuck out, because this is absolute, total cognitive dissonance, where their alarms are going off, their beliefs say one thing, but what they're seeing in reality is like, wait a minute, this person's leaving? Wait, what? It's completely opposite of anything that they believe in a million years. So for those of you who did leave a narcissist or finally said no to the hoovering and one day just said no more, this is what happens. They get confused like you would not believe. Their brain is saying one thing, but reality is saying a complete opposite. And now they see it and they can't deny it. Now, I don't mean deny it to you. I mean deny it to themselves. Their own reality has completely shattered. And they begin to realize, wait a minute. This was actually a good person. This was someone who actually cared about me. And that's when they realized they fucked up.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
So I've always wanted to use that. I've saved that for a long time, waiting to throw that in there somewhere. Anyways, people, here's the deal. Your kindness, your compassion, your honesty, your genuineness, just being yourself, completely put them in a complete spiral spin down, complete total nuclear meltdown. Congratulations, you did a good job. I told you love is powerful. Anyways, God bless you guys. Thank you for listening to this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I really do hope that this helps you. Remember, click that subscribe button, click that like button, and if you want, go to my website at mikecolleen.com and buy one of my books if you want to support this channel, or click the donation button in the description box right below this video and make a donation if you like. If not, I'll see you guys next video. God bless you.